Good evening, Honorable Dr. Justice Vineet Kothari ji, CA Atul Gupta, President ICAI, CA Nihar Jambusaria, Vice President ICAI, CA Ved Jain ji, Past President ICAI, all the members, all the council members, regional council members who are not visible on the screen but have joined the program. It is my privilege and honor to welcome this distinguished panel with Chief Guest Dr. Vineet Kothari ji and Guest of Honor CA Ved Jain ji at this commemorative webinar on upholding Indian Constitution ideology, role of professionals at the occasion of the Constitution Day. Traditionally, the constitutions represent the outcome of political movement or revolutions, and concurrent with our freedom struggle, the setting up of Constituent Assembly in May 1946, which deliberations lasted till 1949, we have today the Magna Carta for India, the Constitution of India, which came into being in 1950. Our Constitution and Supreme Law incorporates not only the obligations of a sovereign state, but also individual and collective welfare of citizens. Our Constitution goes beyond the nature, character, structure of polity, representing collective conscience and will of the people led by the Constituent Assembly. Our Constitution focuses on its supremacy, rule of law, separation of powers to three organs, judicial review, federalism, secularism, freedom and dignity of individual, equality before law, balancing between fundamental rights and directive principles. The USP has also been the element of constitutionalism, which has been lacking in many countries wherein the constitution is there. And that apart, the limitations upon the powers available for amendment of the constitution under Article 368 to be within the ambit of not interfering with the basic structure of the constitution. In a background which is compounded by increased activism and ever-impending debate between calibration of rights and reasonable restraints, given the inviolable status to the fundamental rights, today's program will dwell upon the role of professionals in upholding the virtues set by our great Constitution. With this, I have the pleasure to again welcome Dr. Vineet Kothari ji and this distinguished panel. And with these words, may I request the President ICAI, CA Atul Gupta ji, to give the theme address, please. Over to you, President CA Atul Gupta ji.
Thank you, Rakesh Sehgal ji. And the Honorable Justice Dr. Vineet Kothari ji, the Senior Judge of Madras High Court, our very, I will say, our own colleague as a Chartered Accountant. Honorable Past President CA Ved Jain ji, our distinguished Honorable Vice President ICAI, CA Nihar Jambusaria ji, all my council colleagues and the viewers. A very good evening to all of you. And at the outset, I congratulate and convey my best wishes to all of you on the 26th November, that is the Constitution Day of our country. My best wishes to all of you on this Constitution Day. And I'm aware that we have the Honorable Justice Dr. Vineet Kothari ji and the past President Ved Jain ji, who will be deliberating in detail that how ideology of the Constitution can be nurtured by the profession of Chartered Accountants, what role the Chartered Accountant has to play and they are playing, which will be very, very important for all of us to see that we are working towards the preamble of the Constitution, may it be the justice, may it be the liberty, may it be the equality, or the other preambles, which the part of the preambles which are being listed down. So with this, I once again welcome all of you, and I believe that the deliberation of Ved Jain ji and Dr. Vineet Kothari ji will be very, very important for all of us to set our targets for the times to come. Thank you very much. Now, may I request CA Ved Jain ji, our past president, sir, to address the members of the profession.
Thank you, Atul ji. chief guest of this program, Justice Dr. Vineet Kothari ji, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, a dear friend Atul Gupta ji, Vice President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, another dear friend Nihar Jambusaria ji, Honorable Secretary Rakesh Sehgal ji, with whom I had the pleasure of working along when I was the president way back in the year 2008-9, and all my dear friends, colleagues who have joined today in this program. I join my president in wishing you all a very, very happy Constitution Day, which is 26th November, every year we celebrate. As we all know that India got its freedom in 1947. And before the India got freedom, we have started drafting Constitution right from December 1946. There was the interim government which was constituted, and that government continued, and that government made a Constituent Assembly. And that Constituent Assembly worked, I think, almost 3 years. And in on 26 November 1949, this Constitution was adopted. Before I come to the role of the professional, I need to just say what this Constitution is, what the ideology of this Constitution is, and what has gone behind it. Rakesh Sehgal ji touched upon in their introductory remark on that issue. What is the ideology of our Constitution and how it has developed? We all know that we started our first fight of freedom way back in 1857. We all know that the first freedom fight, we started it. Over a period, each sector and society joined in the freedom struggle. And this freedom struggle, but the sacrifice of so many freedom fighters, ultimately culminated in getting the freedom on 15th August 1947. So this was a fight of the people, and those people who have worked all along. And when these people were fighting for Indian freedom, there were people from across every caste, every creed, every religion, every area, every sphere, everything, everywhere. So obviously, when India got freedom, it was not a war which was won by one monarch or one king. It was a fight which was won by the Indian people. We, the Indian people, we got the fight, and that was won. And with this mandate, I believe the Constituent Assembly started working. And hats off to those members of the Constituent Assembly, the way they have worked and the way they have drafted the Constitution and they have the ideology. I can see that a Constitution which was drafted in 1946 to 1949 could visualize what will happen down the line after 70 years, 100 years. I believe that's a basic structure which has been given. And this could happen only when the member of the Indian Constituent Assembly that time were fair, equitable, and transparent. And that is what is reflected in our basic structure and the preamble of the Constitution. If I read this preamble of the Constitution, it clearly says what we, the Indian people, are and what we are and what we need to do and how the country will run. And the most important aspect is what we say. We normally say that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, that was the original word, democratic republic, meaning thereby we will be a country which is a sovereign country. We will be an independent country, sovereign country. And that was the mandate which was given. And later on, the words were added, socialist and democracy. As we know, what is the meaning of the sovereign? The sovereign means that India has its own independent authority and it is not a dominion of any other external power. In the country, legislature has the power to make the law which are subject to certain limitation. That was the mandate which is given in the Constitution. And then we added 2 words more way back in the year 1976. One word was the socialist. The term means the achievement of socialist and through democratic means. It holds faith in India, a mixed economy where both private and public sector coexist side by side. That was a sociological philosophy, because as we say, the economy can be capitalist economy, one can be a communist economy, and one can be socialist. We adopted a path which will be a mixed economy path. And then we added the word secular. This means that all the religion in India are equal respect, protection, and support from the state. No religion will have any preference on that part. And the word democratic, the term implies that the Constitution of India has an established form of constitution which gets its authority from the will of the people expressed in an election. So that was the biggest thing which was given, that every people will have a right in the election and equal. And republic means that we have the state is elected by the people. We are not having a monarchy, or we elect the head of the state, which is the president of India. That's what we say. Now, constitution is a supreme law, and it helps in maintain integrity of the society and promote unity among the citizens to build a great nation. Now, having said so, now the issue which arises is what we mean with the word, what we say when we say we having adopted this constitution and to secure to all its citizens. The first word is what we are securing to all citizens is justice. Justice means not only justice, it should be a social, economic, and political. And social justice means that the Constitution wants to create a society without discrimination on any grounds like caste, creed, gender, and religion. So in India, whichever the caste you belong to, whichever creed you have, whichever the gender, male or female, and whichever the religion you are, you have a right of justice you're getting. And the second part is the economic justice. Economic justice means no discrimination can be caused by people on the basis of their wealth, income, and economic status. Every person must be paid equally for an equal position, and all people must get opportunities to earn for their living. So meaning thereby, this is the economic justice. And I believe as an Indian chartered accountant, as an institute of a professional chartered accountant, the role of chartered accountant is much more in ensuring this economic justice. The Honorable President Atul Gupta ji was referring to certain fundamental rights which are enshrined in the Constitution when we read from Article 12 to Article 31, where the fundamental right. And then when we read to certain directive principles which were part of the Constitution. Now that right, etc., those who will protect that right and in what manner that can be achieved. It is not only that everything has to be achieved through courts. It is the thing which has to be realized and accepted and implemented by the society. And why by the society? And when we talk of a society, I just haywire here from a little wide angle. When we take birth in this world, we are alone, we are one. We take birth, the moment we take birth in a family. Then we owe a responsibility first to yourself as an individual, and then you owe a responsibility to your family where you have taken birth. But as you grow up and you move out, then you owe a responsibility to the neighborhood or to the people around you, and that is what's saying. And as you grow much, then you have a responsibility to the city where you are, to the town where you are, to the state over a period, and then the nation, and then to the world at large, and the society. Now, this Constitution of India say, yes, we the people of India will ensure that these three things which will be there will be our responsibility. So my first thing is on the deliberation is on this Constitution Day is that this what sometimes we wonder that responsibility lies only on the government or the three pillar, what we call the parliament or the executive or the judiciary. No, we say this responsibility lies on everyone in the sphere or in the society in India. I may be a chartered accountant, somebody may be an engineer, some may be a doctor. These professionals owe an additional responsibility because we are the privileged person in the sense that we were lucky enough to become a professional. Now, having become a professional, this Constitution belongs to us, and as a profession, we need to pay back. And we need to pay back and owe a responsibility and keep this, what the theme of the today program is, upholding Indian Constitution ideology. And if I see as a chartered accountant, in what manner I can uphold this Indian Constitution ideology. And I look on from an economic perspective. We all know that economy plays a very important aspect in ensuring social welfare, in ensuring livelihood of every person, in ensuring that everybody gets an equal opportunity, and ensuring that everybody gets a right to earn. Everybody has a right to make a choice which industry and which area it want to go. Now, as I look how it can happen, there are executive which is working. There is a state government, there is a central government, there are a public sector company, there is a private sector company, etc. Now, the lawmaker, I believe, even before this constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949, they enacted the Institute of Chartered Accountant Act in 1949 in the month of July itself. And then they gave a power, delegated power, that look, this institute will train, educate members and give a license to those members to certify the account, to verify the account, and to carry out the accountability. Now, that is the biggest responsibility given to the profession. And what we need to do in upholding the constitutional ideology is that in what manner, as an accountant, I will ensure economic justice to my citizen and to everyone, which this constitution ideology says. And how it can happen? I need to perform the obligation as a chartered accountant, which is on me in a very fair, equitable, and in a manner which serve the overall cause of the society. I should rise a little bit above my own personal, which I say, yes, I owe a responsibility to myself, to my family, and to the society, but I owe a responsibility to the nation also. And if that direction, what can be the contribution, which I think Honorable Atul Gupta ji was also referring to? The Constitution has enshrined various provisions. I will start from a small, the smallest, I think, entity in a political setup is a village where a panchayat is there. Now that panchayat account and accountability and working can be a part of my responsibility. I need to ensure that the accounts are fair, they reflect a true working, and their sources and means, I do ensure that way. I go a little higher, then there is a municipality which working has to be seen, and that municipality, how the municipality has been working it out. Then the state government finances, I go a little bit beyond that municipality, district, state government finances. I believe as a profession, we owe a responsibility to ensure that the state government, what they are doing and how we are doing, we owe a responsibility that whatever they are collecting and whatever they are spending, we do give our advice and we do work it out. Yes, there is an achievement of this basic thread or basic theme of the Constitution, that economic justice is achieved. And so is with the central government. And when we look at their budget, etc. And now what role as a profession, individually or collectively or as an institute, we can play for that part. As we see, every government makes a budget of it. There are policies and there are issues. We as a accountant can owe a responsibility to advise the government what need to be done on economic front, how it can be done on the economic front, because it is an executive role which is given. Because Constitution, as we all know, has the three pillars. One is the legislature, one is the executive, and one is the judiciary. The parliament makes the law, the judiciary, executive implement the law, and judiciary, in case there is some variation or something, oversee, yes, both these wings are working perfectly well. Now, in a legislature, we can play a very active role. We owe a responsibility to contribute to the legislature on all economic front in what we call not only the tax law, but all economic laws. We owe a responsibility as a profession that we do oversee that what economic laws are being enacted, what economic laws need to be enacted. Sometimes we feel discouraged that who will listen to us and who will not listen to us. I will just still recall we had a long meeting long time back with the then chairman of the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He has briefed that you gentlemen as a profession, if you send an idea or a suggestion, maybe it may not be implemented today, but maybe out down the line, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, somebody may like your idea and get implemented. Somebody may need your idea for that getting implemented. So we owe a responsibility, yes, while drafting and working law, not only the law which are being drafted, we give our suggestion, we work it on that way. We also make sure that what is being not enacted, what can be done, look into our professional competence. Because we as a chartered accountant are privileged to have the information, what is happening, how volume can be created. I will just give you an example. what role we can play and within what analogy. I had the privilege of auditing some bank branch audit way back in the 1979 in a small village. And when in the lunchtime, I just told the branch chairman that you are the finance minister of this village or this town. He asked me, Mr. Jain, you are making a joke. I said, no, you are the right finance minister. You are in only branch in this village or in this town. You know who are the people keeping deposit with you, who are the people who are earning good money and can have a saving. At the same time, you know the composition of this town, that who are the students who are getting educated and who may need fund for education. After getting education, they may like to put up a small unit here or there. They may like to get loan, etc. You are aware of the geographical area. You are aware of the importance of this area in agriculture, what this produce. You know what can be done, which area this specializes, what is the need of the hour, what is the shortage, what these people are having a problem. You can use the same way as the finance minister does. And you need to prepare your budget yearly. These are the people who are going to give me the deposits. These are the people who are likely to get my advances. These are the areas which are potential for the growth and development of this village. I need to push advances, etc. I believe as a chartered accountant, we owe a responsibility and we can do this thing for a village, for a town, for etc. This we can do another part. Similarly, don't look at from a larger perspective where we also do as an institute, we are doing it and we are working on that part. So that part can continue on that part. So this is what I say, we need to do a lot on that part. And this is, I believe, on a Constitution Day, if we think in this manner, that we need to uphold that's what we call the Constitution's basic values, what we are. And this is the role of profession. I have just tried to give some of the perspective from the chartered accountant side. There are other professions. Engineers can do the same. The doctors are doing the same. And I believe the way that this corona pandemic is being handled by the doctors, the way they are working, they are also keeping the values of the what we call the Constitution, providing services across the society, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, and religion. They are doing their duty, etc. They are doing justice to everybody. And similarly, they can think of something doing bigger because health infrastructure, people, some medical council or other people can join together, work it out, what can be done, what need to be done. Similarly, as you say, my president, my vice president, they are working as an institute, that we as an institute, as a profession need to work. So my suggestion on this Constitution Day will be, yes, professional can contribute and do a lot in upholding the value of the Constitution. When we talk of upholding the value of the Indian Constitution, is that how do we ensure in compliance of those values which have been enshrined in the preamble? And as I said, what we call justice or economic justice, the chartered accountant and the profession can play a very bigger role on that part. And in that regard, individually we can work out from our village, our town, our city, our district, our state or the center, and as an institute, as a professional body or a regional council, etc., can always work with the state government, with what public sector companies, where the NGOs, etc., are working to so ensure that these social justice and economic justice is achieved. I believe looking to that part with all the best wishes, and thanks to the president and the vice president for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, friends.